It's the Gear Tester here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you one of the quick modifications that I'm choosing to do to my RC-4. It's currently being produced, this knife that you see right here is currently being produced as the ESEE4, still by the same manufacturer, by Rowan, but it just happens the company, Rat Cutlery, has changed its name now. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be removing the coating on the back portion of the blade and making sure that there's a nice 90-degree angle on both these sides so that I can strike a fire steel or a ferrocerium rod with the back of my blade and not dull the edge, the main edge of my blade. And I'm going to be using my trusty little Dremel tool here to do that. So we'll just get started. It's going to need a little bit more work, I think. But that's basically what I'm going to be doing here. I chose to switch over from that little hard stone tip to using one of these. It's basically like a piece of sandpaper, and I just use that to kind of put a higher polish, if you want to call it that, do a little bit finer work here to finish off what I had done on this knife. And here's basically the finished product. It doesn't look super nice. But this is a knife that is my constant companion when I'm backpacking, hiking, or in the woods. So you can see it here. I've removed that coating. I kept a little bit on the tip up here, and I removed it almost all the way down to where the jimping is. I left it right here to keep that kind of smooth in order to allow myself to choke up and not get pricked or poked on that edge, because it is relatively sharp. I also chose to remove a little bit of the coating here on this side of the blade, on either side of the blade there, to increase the sharpness and the striking potential. And you can see here it does a very nice job. And then if I needed this for whatever reason to switch over to use my left hand as holding the blade, I can choke up again just like this, and you can see there. So that's just a quick little modification. I've used this knife, had this knife for the better part of 5 years, and maybe a little bit more than that, and have really enjoyed using this knife. Have used it a tremendous amount, carried it on many backpacking trips, hikes in the woods, and it's kind of my go-to knife. It's a great blade. I would definitely recommend these. I would encourage you to modify your gear and equipment from its original condition, and to modify your tools and gear in ways that make them particularly useful to you and the way you intend to use them. This has made this knife more useful to me. It allows me to have a secondary function. I don't now need another blade that has that sharpened spine on it. I can just carry this knife with me, and if I want to, use it on my steel without having to dull my primary edge on the blade. I have a number of friends who have really nice gear and equipment, and they choose to leave it in what they feel is pristine condition, and that is unused condition. They like to have gear that looks perfect, just like it came from the factory. And I have to say, I can fall into that same train of thought. I like to have gear and equipment that looks really nice and in really good condition. But this knife is fully usable. I haven't altered it in any way that changes its usefulness from the original way it came from the factory. I've just made it more useful to me as an individual. I didn't remove all the coating on the blade because this is probably the most durable coating that I've ever seen on a knife blade. And I've used a number of knives and seen the coating come off. And I've been really impressed with whatever coating that, whether that's Rat Cutlery, now ESEE Cutlery, or whether that's Rowan, whoever's putting this coating on the blade. I'm really impressed with that coating. And just so there's no confusion, RC, the Rat Cutlery, is now been renamed to ESEE. ESEE. So the RC-4 and the ESEE4 are the same exact knife, manufactured by Rowan. They just have a different name stamped on it because Rat Cutlery changed its name. So the RC-4 and the ESEE4 are the same exact knives. The ESEE4 is currently in production, and it's a great knife. I really like, one of the things they're doing is they're producing the RC-4, which is the same exact knife. They're producing it completely uncoated, and I do like that, but I do like having this coating. I use this knife in rainy, wet, and snowy conditions, and that coating has done a good job of keeping down rust and just allowing me then to just have to worry about the exposed portions of the blade to maintain that so there's no rust. I would recommend the RC-4 to you guys. I would encourage you to modify your gear and equipment so it better suits your needs and your purposes. My goal is to produce quality video reviews of shooting, camping, and survival gear. Thank you very much for your views and your subscriptions. This is the Gear Tester signing off.